Hey, it's John with Mykala Mortgage Planning at Dart Bank, one of the Barndo bankers, and we're here again today to share with you a great episode talking about more barndominium information with kits and builders being part of it. And we have none other than Lance McCool. He is a co-owner of Summit Builders and Blue Ox Barns. They provide the entire kit for you to put together that dream barndominium. So welcome, Lance. We're so happy to have you with us here today.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Hey, we're going to dive right into stuff, right? With just asking some questions coming right out of the chute, So, you've got these two companies that serves the barndominium community. And, Blue Ox puts together an entire package for people. Can you share a little bit about what that looks like? What comes in a kit or a package, and where does it start?
Yeah, good question. We do the whole kit. So we don't sell like part and piece of anything. We just do the whole entire package. And then what we'll do is we'll design it. Typically we like to do that with the customers. We have them right in our office, and so we make them a part of that design process, and then they get to be involved in that, and we get to tweak things right in front of them. And so with the kit, we'll have our 3D design software. We can take them in the building around it and twist it around so that they can get a really good visual of it. And then we can put all the rooms in there, and then they can kind of see everything, and then it materializes it for them. So then once we get everything set, it's constantly changing the price so that they can see the price and then work with their budget and kind of get the design and price all put together for them.
Wow. Okay. So when I thought kit originally, I was thinking like it's like you got A, B, or C, or some, like so you got.
Yeah.
You can custom design a kit for them.
Oh yeah, a lot of it is custom, but we've done so many of them now that we do have some. Let's call them kits, like you're saying, A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
But dealing with all the people, they're always different. Everybody wants something a little bit different here and there. And so we're able to store a lot of those projects that we've quoted and designed, and then we can use those as well. So we kind of have an inventory of different projects and different looks with different floor plans that we can choose from as well if they like.
Okay, great. That's gotta give a lot of flexibility for folks that can walk in there and they're like, oh, I want, this extra, link added to the house or whatever it is, roof pitches, any of those kinds of things, right?
You bet. Yeah. Yep.
So on your kits then for Blue Ox, Lance, does that come with just a exterior shell, or is there an interior finish with that as well?
It'll go as far as we can do the insulation and the exterior walls, and then we can do all the studs for your interior walls and all the framing of it. And then that's kind of where it stops. So the whole exterior, and then basically ready for, we can put the insulation in and then supply all the interior walls, and then it's ready for all the other subs to come in after that.
Okay. All right. And so when you see your customers ordering these packages, these kits from you, are they the DIY people, or are they people that are like, hey, we want something that's put together and self-designed, and then we're going to hire, a general to put it together? Like what is it, a mix, or is there something that leans, where's the best fit for somebody?
Yeah, that's a darn good question. We work with builders and the DIY guys.
Okay.
I don't see a whole lot of DIY people coming to us though.
Okay.
I think it initially might start out that way with some, and then it usually goes to a builder after that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. So let me ask you this. You've been doing this for a while. What are some of the problems that you see come up with for folks like that inside of maybe their planning process that maybe you could help them at divert from having issues if they do this beforehand? What would be some of those kind of common problems?
That's another really good question. And we get all kinds of interest where we'll get someone that has detailed drawings and they know exactly what they want, and then we go to town, and then we're gonna get some people that say, hey, I want a price on a barndominium. What do you charge? And I'll say, boy, I don't know what you want. And so then it's lacking all the detail in the world. There's no anything to go off of. And so sometimes we work with people on that, but I'll always kind of put the ball back in their court where I say, hey, you kind of need to give us something to go off of. We're not able to read minds or anything like that. If you give us any inspiration, if you have anything that you can find on Pinterest or floor plans or whatever that you're thinking, then that's going to help us go from there.
Yeah.
Sometimes even a napkin sketch works out pretty good, and we can go off of that. But the more, when it's in construction, whether it's a build or a supply, the big thing that customers need to understand is they need to be able to give as much direction and communication to all of us. And that kind of helps that whole entire process go way smoother.
Yeah. Are there steps that you can walk them through? So if they have a general idea, like, okay, hey, I've gone on, like you said, kind of Pinterest or, some of the Barndo groups, and they've searched and they've got kind of a general idea. Do you walk them through a process after that starts to dial it in where they can get detailed?
Yeah, sure. Yep. And it depends on kind of where they're at in the process. But yeah, we do that. We always try to narrow and streamline that process down for them. So we'll get let's call it the generic, design or idea out there, and enough for us to go on and kind of have it be comprehensive. And then after that, what happens inevitably is people want to make changes and they say, I like that. Once they get that visual, then it comes back with changes. Then it's also too, John, people are working with budgets. And so as we're estimating it, we have that pricing right there live. And so then it's kind of that mixture where we're tweaking that and kind of getting things narrowed right down.
That's gotta be a huge advantage, because I know a lot of people, exactly as you're saying, is they come in there, and even if they've talked to like us and they've been pre-approved, they know their finances, or if they've got cash, they've got a set direct. They've got a budget that they want to stay within. You being able to do that with your model allows you to give them almost immediate answers then.
That's right. Yeah. And that's a good point too, though. It's really important. I find that we can start going down this process, but if they don't understand, what they're able to get for financing or money access, then it's kind of can be a giant waste of time. On both parts, which we're always happy to work with people and help identify things and narrow that down for them. But I'd say a big thing is definitely getting, the entire budget of what you're going to be able to spend and know that and get that established probably first. And then that's going to dictate, what you can and can't do. So,
well, we always like to have people on that side, all squared up before they talk to you if we can. So
yeah, then if you're not, I'll send them to you.
Hey, what about the advantages of a kit like Blue Ox Barns provides versus somebody says, well, I'm just going to run down to the local lumberyard or Lowe's or Home Depot or big box place, and we're just going to buy all the material there. What do you see as the advantages of buying, a kit?
Oh yeah. So actually that's kind of why we formed our company. We built pole barns in the past, and our experience was you're going to different lumberyards and you're saying, hey, this is what I want. And they're doing their best to estimate that. Right. But usually a lot of lumberyards are geared towards residential homes and residential construction, and not so much barns or barndominiums. And so we noticed that we'd always have problems with the project where it wasn't estimated all the way right, or where you're short materials. And so what happens is if you're short even one piece of trim in certain situations, you can't continue to run your wall steel or your roof steel. And then you got to pull off the job and maybe go and start another job because you just can't continue to go forward because you're missing one piece of trim sometimes.
Sure.
So that also comes to another problem where you're going to have your material line item list, and you'll see that, say, all right, that's what you think your price is, but you're missing something. So then you have to go back and order more. And so then now you have longer lead times. If you're getting a piece of steel, you have 2 to 3 weeks. Sometimes you have to wait depending on demand. And then now you're going to have to pay additional for that. So those were some things that really affected us in the process. And those are things that we wanted to try to be different as a company. And that's to answer your question. When you do that kit and you have it all right there, and we have our 3D design software, any one of us can look at that and say, all right, whatever is there in that picture, that 3D model, that's what we're going to be getting. And then we'll take extra measures too to make sure that we're going to throw in a couple extra pieces of trim or sometimes another extra sheet of steel, so that when someone clicks go and they're ready to rock and roll, all the material gets out to the job site. And they know they've got it all there, so that we're not having any hiccups.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. How does that translate to the field? Like so you got a package, it gets delivered, and now they got a GC that's gonna put this thing together. Do they, does it come out with a set of specs, or is there an instruction packet? Like what's the process for the GC or the homeowner, if they're going to, if it's a DIY, to be able to then put that, assemble that kit together?
Yeah. When we get everything established with our 3D model, it produces a lot of different drawings, a lot of different pages. So it can really help the DIY guy if they want to go and build it all. It can figure out all of the material lists, and it gives you even the cut lengths of what to cut the different boards. And so it can walk anybody through with very basic knowledge that wants to do a DIY. Or if it's the contractor can see right where everything goes, what's called out. It even gives, your steel and your steel layout and all that jazz. So that really helps out a lot. It can help you sort steel on the job, which is a really big deal. When you're getting everything staged for that project, it can really streamline that process quite a bit.
Okay, perfect. Now you're in Michigan, so we're located at, and you're kind of up north, and we're more down central Michigan. So Summit that's the building company and element that you guys own. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming that Summit then you can buy the kit from Blue Ox, and Summit can put it together for people, right?
Yes, that's correct. Okay. We started Blue Ox Barns, and it was funny. We thought hey, we're going to sell pole barns, because that's what most of our construction background is in. And it morphed really fast into just almost all barndominiums now. It's pretty wild. So, and we did all of our marketing and getting all of our websites set up, and we started getting a lot of leads coming in, and that was really cool. But what we found is a lot of people wanted to have a number for the build too, right? So they wanted someone to build it. And we kept getting that over and over and over and over again. So that's why we said, hey, let's start another company. There's an opportunity here. And that's when we started Summit Builders. And so now Summit Builders does just like what you said, that's going to go and do the whole entire build. So it could be, we're on right now, Atomic Barn. It's a commercial project there in Traverse City, a microbrewery, and Summit's building that, and then do barndominiums and barns, horse stalls. So yeah, the whole shoot match. Anything related to pole barns.
Yeah, that's great. It's funny. I was at a conference yesterday and talking to a group of people about, barndominiums. They're like, well, what is a barndominium? I'm like, well, here's the thing. Like, I like the word. I like, some people don't like it, the term, but I like it as I define it as a blanket phrase for almost anything that's happening with, post frame construction, your metal buildings, even, conventional 2x6, framing on, deep footings type of thing. I said, it's really whatever you want, but it's that overall feeling. What's your thoughts, Lance? Let's hear what you say about what's a barndominium to you.
Oh, man. That's a tricky question. I'll tell you what my thoughts are on it. And it's a wild one. You see, and if you're online or whatever, you see all kinds of different things. I would say, to help answer that question, oh boy, I'm going to try my best here. If you picture a 30 by 40 pole barn, and let's say it's a garage, all right? Not a barndominium, but just a garage. And then you wanted to convert that into a house and put 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom inside of that. Now it's no longer a garage. That would be what I would say would kind of classify more as a barndominium. So now when you get into, to try to make my point further, you get into some really big complexities and different roof lines, and it's kind of more chopped up. It's not the rectangle anymore. Then we're kind of going away from the barndominium, and we're going back into an environment where it'd probably better to do a stick-built home. You're losing some of the advantages of a barndominium. And so I think the advantages, that people want and are looking for is it's basic, it's a rectangle. Yep. And you can have a lot of freedom within that floor plan. You don't have those chopped up load-bearing walls all over the place. Yep. Yeah, you've got a clean slate there that you can work with, which makes it really easy for figuring out your interior layouts. Makes it very cost effective too, and then the same thing too, like if you're doing a basement, that's cool. If you're doing a basement, you almost might be better off doing a stick built, in my opinion, because you get a lot of advantages with your cost savings in a barndominium, which is usually why people want them. You don't have to have all of your foundation work done, crawl space, basement. that's where you get a lot of your savings, kind of doing it on the slab.
Yeah.
Because one builder can come in and knock all that stuff out instead of having to hire a mason, to come in and do the block work. And then it's also going to save you on your excavation. You're not going to have to dig out a lot more with your excavation. So those are some substantial savings when it comes to a barndominium.
Yeah. I like your answer. I like your answer better. I like it. That's good. I need to summarize that in some of the material that we do too, because there's some extra things that you mentioned in there. I like that. You did a better job than I did.
Oh, well, cool, man. I don't know, but there's a lot more to it than that. There's a lot more, but
sure.
We can go on and on that. But basically, I think the big thing is just picture a barn and then now picture making a house out of it. So one thing that I see is people come and they have this, let's call it a more elaborate design for a house.
Yeah.
And I can look at that as a builder too and say, wow, that would be kind of a custom stick built house. And all it has is barn siding on it and barn roofing.
Yeah.
At that point. And now they might say it looks like a barn, but that's just one step away from having different siding and roofing to me.
Gotcha.
I wouldn't go down that path.
Yeah, I had two things that popped up into my head that maybe listeners, viewers would want to know about. Like, I know a lot of different barndominium builders that I talk to across the country have different methodologies. How do you guys? I'm assuming like Blue Ox, you guys are doing post frame with that, right? So you're doing your purlings and girts and your 6x6s. Okay, so are the posts being set on a foundation? So that you've got some kind of like permacolumn or something that's attached, or are you guys wrapping them and then dropping them in the ground? Like how is that designed for Blue Ox?
Excuse me. Typically, it's going to be your posts in the ground. They're going to go down about 4 feet. You dig, depending on your county requirements and your drawings, you go down roughly 4 feet, and then you dig that hole out, and then you put your foundation in there. And so you pour concrete in there for your foundation. Then you set your post on top of that. So of course that's a treated post in the ground. Yep. That's typical. We're doing one right now that has the pure columns or the sonotube footings. And so that's another method where it's all concrete and then there's a bracket that sets on top of that concrete and then all the post starts. That's a good method. It's more expensive, obviously. It costs more, but it's definitely a really good method to go. I haven't run across the permacolumns as much in people. I've looked into it. We've priced those out. They're pretty pricey, but you're getting what you pay for too. So the permacolumns are going to be more material cost from a material side of it, and then there's going to be a lot more labor in getting those set as well out on the job site.
Gotcha. Yep. Now, how about what if somebody wants, and actually this comes from, again, that conference I was at yesterday, a gal showed a picture of a person building a barndominium and had a wraparound porch, beautiful wraparound porch. For Blue Ox, can the kits be designed for things like that too, so that you have those, the exterior, whatever, maybe it's a gabled porch or a wraparound porch, things like that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we do all kinds of wraparound porches, all kinds of different porches. People like them, and I get why. I think they're a great way to go. It's real popular to have lean-tos and whatever else, and people are using them for additional storage outside. Obviously, it's not livable space, but it is usable, like square footage, obviously, that's open. So
sure,
that's very popular. A lot of people are going down that path. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, Lance, we appreciate you being with us today. It's such a pleasure having you on. Now you are in Michigan, so if someone wants to get a hold of you, I'm assuming that you're kind of right now you're staying focused on the Michigan territory is kind of where you're located. Is that right?
Yeah, for Blue Ox Barns or retail company, that's all over the state of Michigan. We can go into Ohio and Indiana, but we're trying to focus on Michigan right now.
Okay.
And then for Summit Builders, if we're doing builds, we're in Emmett County, Antrim County, Kalkaska County, Grand Traverse County. I think it's five counties there, but pretty much within an hour of Kalkaska.
Great. Awesome. Well, we appreciate you being with us today and sharing all of your knowledge, expertise, and not just that, but you're a great guy. It's like the funny thing is a lot of times you like when you're working with folks, You want to feel like you're connected to them, like hey, we've known each other for a long time, and you certainly are that type of person. People will love working with you just because of your personality. So I think they get a quality product and a great guy.
Hey, that goes both ways, John. We like working with you guys too, so it's been a pleasure.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks again, Lance. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks a lot, John. We'll see you.